A residence permit for financially dependent people is for those of you who don't want to look for a job, don't want to open a random cafe just for the visa, but simply want to live on the passive income you already have. In this segment, Portugal is one of the clearest options because their D7 road is basically a passive income residence visa for people who live off pensions, rent, investment, or royalties. When people hear passive income visa, they often imagine something like, this is only for millionaires with income from 10 apartments. In reality, the requirements are much more down to earth, even though they are tied to the Portuguese minimum wage and do grow over time. My name is Diana Sadikova. I'm a lawyer and head of immigration at Natlan. For more than 15 years, our company has been helping clients relocate, use business immigration, and invest in real estate in Europe and worldwide. Across Europe, there is a whole group of financially independent roads built around one idea. You show that you already have stable income to live in the country and that you're not planning to enter their labor market and compete with local workers. Spain has the non-lucrative residence, Italy has Residency elettiva, France has the visitor status, Greece has a financially independent permit, and Portugal, which we focus on today, has the D7 passive income visa. Let's focus on Portugal, because for many people, this is the most realistic road financially in 2026. The D7, in simple terms, is a residence permit for people who live on an income from outside Portugal. It can be pensions, rental income, dividends, interest, royalties, and sometimes long-term insurance payments. The message from Portugal is, you can come, live here, spend your money in our economy, but you do not rely on a local job. Which income sources usually count for the D7 visa? Pensions, state, corporate, and private retirement pensions. Rental income, apartments, houses, or commercial property rented out long term. Dividends from shares or equity in companies, usually with some history. Interest on deposits, bonds, and similar low-risk instruments. Royalties from books, online courses, music, software, or other licensed intellectual property. The key idea is that the income must be regular and provable. A one-off transfer from a friend, a single property sale, or a random screenshot from a trading app are not what consulates wants to see. They want documents and continuity. Rental contracts, bank statements over several months, pension letters, dividend reports, and similar proof that your income is stable over time. Now, let's talk about the numbers. As of early 2026, the national minimum wage in Portugal is 920 euros per month, after an increase from 870 euros. For the D7, consulates and the immigration service usually use this minimum wage as the reference point for how much passive income you need. In practice, in 2026, it looks roughly like this. Main applicant, at least 920 euros per month in passive income, so it's about 11,000 euros per year. For the spouse or partner, plus 50% of that, so it's around 460 euros per month. And for the each child, plus 30%, so it's around 270 euros per month per child. There is also the question of savings. The law doesn't give one fixed number, but in practice, a common benchmark is at least 1 year of your required income in a Portuguese bank account for the main applicant, plus extra for dependents. Many lawyers suggest that for a single applicant, you aim at around 11,000 or 12,000 euros in savings in Portugal, with higher amounts if you bring family. This doesn't mean that if you have exactly 11,000 euros, your visa is guaranteed. But if you go much below this range, it becomes hard to convince the authorities that your plan to live in Portugal is realistic. Who can apply for the D7 visa? In general, any non-EU, non-European Economic Area, non-Swiss citizen can apply if they meet the passive income and savings requirements, and if the Portuguese consulate responsible for their country of residence currently accepts D7 applications. There is no general ban on specific nationalities in D7 rules as of March of 2026, although some consulates are slower, have longer queues, or may temporarily pause new files. How does the process work? First, you prepare your documents and apply at the Portuguese consulate in your country of legal residence for the D7 visa. If your file is approved, the consulate issues a national visa, usually valid for up to 4 months. This visa lets you travel to Portugal and attend your residence appointment. Second, once you arrive in Portugal, you go to IMA, the Agency for Integration, Migration and Asylum, and apply for your first residence permit based on the D7. Recently, this first permit is usually issued for 2 years. Third, you renew your permit. After the first 2 years, it is usually renewed for another 3 years. So the standard pattern is 2 plus 3 years if you keep sufficient income, stay in Portugal for the required minimum time, and follow your residence application. After those first 5 years of legal residence, you reach an important point. You can usually apply for permanent residence or directly for Portuguese citizenship by naturalization, if you meet the extra conditions such as language and clean criminal record. There has been public debate about possibly extending the residence period for citizenship from 5 to 10 years, but as of early 2026, the 5-year rule is still in the law, and any change would need to be clearly adapted. In any case, you must show that you really lived in Portugal, not just use the card as a travel token, and you will need to pass basic Portuguese language test at around A2 level. So the D7 is not a fancy long-term tourist visa, but a serious pathway to long-term residence, and if you want, a Portuguese passport. Portugal allows dual nationality, so in many cases you can keep your original citizenship when you become Portuguese, as long as your home country also allows dual citizenship. A common question is, if I arrive on the D7 and later find a job or start a business, do I have to leave and start over on a work or entrepreneur visa? In practice, Portugal does allow you to change the legal basis of your residence permit from inside the country if certain conditions are met. In general, you must qualify for the new status, for example, having a valid employment contract or meet entrepreneur criteria, apply for the change while your current D7 permit is still valid, and have respected D7 rules, including income and minimum stay. This means a scenario like I enter on passive income, spend time in Portugal, understand the country, find a job or launch a project, and then switch to a work or self-employed residence from inside Portugal is not just theory. It is used in real cases if done carefully and legally. The same logic applies if you want to move from the D7 to an entrepreneurial route once your business meets the requirements. Who is the D7 really for? The D7 is a good option if you already receive stable passive income, pension, rent, dividends, interest at or above the Portuguese minimum wage, so from around 920 euros per month in 2026. You're ready to move money into a Portuguese bank account to show at least 1 year of living expenses. You are ready to actually live in Portugal most of the year, not just keep the card and use it as a Schengen multi-entry visa. And you are not in a rush to find a job or start a business immediately, but prefer to secure residence first based on income you already have. If this logic resonates with you, the next layer of detail would be taxes under the D7 visa, how to choose a bank, and which documents on rent or dividends most often raise questions from consulates. That could be a separate episode. But the core picture is simple. The D7 is about living calmly and legally on your own money with a path to long-term residence and citizenship, not about being a millionaire buying your way into the country. If you're already comparing countries, income types, and timelines, it is normal to feel overwhelmed by acronyms, residence types, tax regimes, and stories from friends in different places. It is very easy to choose what looks popular on social media instead of what really fits your income structure, family situation, and long-term goals. If you would like to understand whether the D7 or another road is the right entry point for you, whether that is passive income, work, business, study, or family, you can book a consultation with our team at Natlan. During the consultation, we will look at your income sources, family composition, and timing, compare the main roads available to you, and build a clear step-by-step plan for your move and your long-term status in Portugal or other suitable countries.